When I was traveling in Argentina, I was on vacation. I wasn't like looking to start something. I wasn't interested really in charity or philanthropy. I mean, I was running a software company. I was having a vacation like a normal person, you know, having no idea what I was about to stumble upon. And when I was in Argentina, I was there for about a month. I was seeing lots of kids barefoot, but it wasn't really registering to me that was like a real hardship. But I didn't really think about it until I met these women that were in a cafe, and we were talking, and I asked them what they were doing in Argentina, and they were doing a shoe drive. And I said, well, that's interesting. I've seen a lot of barefoot kids. And they said, well, actually, when kids don't have shoes in this area, they're not allowed to go to school. And that's part of the uniform requirement. And shoes is the most expensive part. So without shoes, there isn't education. And then immediately it clicked to me like how important shoes were for these kids. So I went with the women and helped distribute the shoes that they had collected. But as an entrepreneur, I immediately recognized that there was potentially a shortfall from a charity model here because they were dependent on donations. And so if they got the donations, the kids got the shoes. But if they didn't get the donations, then the kids didn't have the shoes. And if they needed them to go to school, they needed a sustainable supply of shoes. And so for me as an entrepreneur, instead of thinking about charity, I thought about, okay, how could business solve this problem? And it was a very simple idea. I thought, what if the people who can afford to buy a pair of shoes, when they buy a pair, they knew that a person was getting a pair of shoes. So every time we sell a pair, we would give a pair 1 for 1. And really the idea was not to build a big company. It was to help one group of kids, 250 kids in one town just outside of Buenos Aires, and do it as kind of a project. But when I got back to Los Angeles and had the shoes that we designed and made, they were really well accepted, and people got excited, and people started buying them. And then next thing we know, the demand was really high. 3 or 4 months after we started selling the shoes, out of a couple stores in kind of the Hollywood area, that we found out that many of the shoppers were celebrities, and then they were getting photographed wearing the shoes, and then people were asking them what kind of brand is that. And one of the great things about TOMS is very few times does someone just say, oh, they're TOMS. They say they're TOMS, and did you know that every time someone buys a pair, they give a pair to a child. At that point it was in Argentina, but now all over the world. And so having the celebrities be spokespeople basically for our brand, and we didn't even know them, was amazing. And we would be like opening the magazines, like see Sienna Miller, or see like Keira Knightley, or Natalie Portman, or Tom Cruise, or all these people like wearing our shoes, and we were like working out of my apartment. So it was a pretty surreal experience. So we started TOMS 2006, just focused on shoes, and then about 5-6 years later, we had given millions and millions of kids shoes, and we recognized that the 1-for-1 model could be applied to other products and other needs. So the first one we started with was sight. We recognize that there's a lot of kids that can't afford glasses that need them for school. There's a lot of elderly people that develop cataracts and become blind, and then they can't work or they can't care for their families. And that both of those things are relatively easy and inexpensive in the scheme of things to fix, but have a major effect on someone's life. So we decided to launch a sunglass line, and that was 2.5 years ago. And then most recently, this last year, we launched optical frames as well. So people can buy a pair of glasses from TOMS and help one person get their sight back, whether that's getting glasses or cataract. So it's the 1-for-1 model in the eyewear space is one person is buying and one person is being helped. And that's been really exciting, and frankly, those trips have been some of the most most kind of almost emotional and impactful for me, because you literally see people who are blind, seeing grandkids for the first time. It can be a lot of tearjerkers in those experiences and those trips. And so that's been something that we've been growing mainly in the U.S., and now we're selling the glasses throughout Europe, so it's really exciting. But that's relatively new for us, especially in the U.K. And then just recently, this last month, we launched a bag line where every bag we sell, we give another bag, but this bag is given to an expecting mom, and it has a birth kit in it. And the birth kit helps her give a safe birth in her home, which is oftentimes not possible because most of the births that are being given around the world in places like India or Haiti, they're giving in areas that are not don't have proper sanitation. They're often giving on a dirt floor where the animals sleep. Infections happen, and a lot of bad things happen. So the birth kit has, the tool to cut the umbilical cord. It has the drapery that you have the baby on. It has all the basic needs, the gloves for whoever's receiving the baby. Basically everything, the bare necessities to give a safe birth, and it reduces infant and maternal mortality by 80%. So it's incredibly effective and incredibly simple. And the cool thing is you can just buy a tote bag and know that you might be saving a life. So it's pretty powerful. Where we are right now is, and I think, you go through different phases as you develop a business, and we have a very long-term philosophy about what we're trying to do. Where we are right now is we have, basically 3 strong accessory categories: shoes, eyewear, and bags. And then we also have a coffee company that we started. And the coffee company kind of ties it together because we're in right now the cafe here in London that we're just opening, and we call it a community outpost. So it's a place for us to have, people come, have a cup of coffee, meet other people, have speakers come, like really build community here, as well as have product for sale. And so I think for the next year or two, we're going to be really focused on continuing to developing those accessory categories, having more community outposts built, and really focus on that. But long term, I think the one-for-one model can expand beyond the fashion accessory category to things like hotels or like financial services, because I do think that the more opportunities we give someone to purchase something or use a service that is also benefiting someone else, that's kind of our ultimate mission. And I think it'll take time, but I don't think it's out of the realm of possibility, because I think people connect to TOMS more as an idea, even more than a single product. I think the most important thing that I've learned, in the context of TOMS is that, giving feels really good. And like anyone who's ever volunteered locally or given time or money to an organization they believe in or a cause they believe in, has recognized it feels good. But what I've learned is that giving doesn't just feel good; it's actually really good for business, and there's nothing wrong with that. And actually, when you are welcome and open to that idea that giving can actually be a driver of the bottom line of business, of the harsh kind of business statistics that people look at, then it actually is even more exciting, because then that shows how business can have an impact. So if you think about it, in our case, our giving is what causes our customers to be so loyal. So we have more loyalty than maybe other brands. Our giving is what causes our customers to want to tell the story and share the story. So now our customers become our marketers, which every brand would die to have. You in terms of your employees, when you have a purpose and a mission beyond just profits, you attract better talent, you retain them, you get them engaged more in what they're doing every day, the productivity goes up. So I actually think that giving is not a cost, it's more of an investment in your business. And that I've learned, firsthand, and that's what I'm spending a lot of my time now doing, is trying to share that with other people. Being a dad is really great. One of the things, I've been thinking a lot about is, being a dad is, only 5 months. It's hard to say it's hard to really understand like how it's going to affect my life, especially when he can talk back to me and ask me questions and tough questions and these types of things. But it definitely, the thing that I've noticed so far that I'm excited about is I feel like, and especially in my life because I've been so blessed, is I've experienced a lot. I've been to God knows how many countries. I've done a lot of interesting things. I've met a lot of interesting people, and I'm 38 years old. And so at some level, I could kind of look at the next 30 or 40 years of my life and be like, in a proportion, am I really going to do that many more amazing things? Am I going to see that many places for the first time again, or have that many first experiences, right? And the answer would be no. It's just, there's not, it's maybe not possible. But what I've already recognized is every time Summit, that's his name, experiences something for the first time, it's like me getting to experience it for the first time again. So the first time I get to take him to, Africa, or the first time that I get to, explain what stars are to him or teach him to surf or these things. I think that's what's most exciting for me, is like kind of that first experience again, because I think so much of my life has been characterized by just lots of fun first experiences. And so I'm looking forward to doing that kind of through his eyes. This is, in 1995, one of my best friends died in a plane crash. And I was going to college that year, and it was it was the first time I ever had dealt with death in that way at such a young age. I was 18 years old. His name was Scott. And I remember being very frustrated and challenged and feeling like there was no warning, and like this thing had been taken away from me, and that I could die anytime. I fly on planes all the time. And so I, at that same time, that first year, my freshman year in college, I heard this phrase for the first time, carpe diem. I think it was from Dead Poets Society, actually, and the movie. And I love this idea of seize the day, because this might be my last day. I mean, if Scott could die, I could die. That was like my first, real, engagement with mortality, especially at a young age. And so I started really living my life almost as a testimony to Scott, and as a, that I would seize every day. And so carpe diem became my mantra, and so much that I sign every email carpe diem. I mean, it's just been my thing, And anyone who knows me, so much that the Kentucky Derby was 2 days ago in the United States, and there was a horse named Carpe Diem, and I got text messages from all these numbers that I didn't even know who these people were, and they're like, "You should bet on this horse." That's how much people know me for Carpe Diem. So that's for, from age 18 to 38. So for 20 years, this has been my mantra. So then we have Summit, and I'm sitting there, and I think Carpe Diem has been really effective in building businesses too, because if you're thinking about seizing the day, you're thinking about how much can I possibly do in this one day to get done, to get the most out of it, which is really good as an entrepreneur, because it means your work ethic is very strong. So then I took a couple months off for paternity leave when the Summit came, and I had all this just like time where it's just like these amazing moments that were just like almost like where time stood still, and I realized that in order for me to enjoy this phase of my life, that it really wasn't about seizing a day. A day was too long. A day was too much. It was too big of a task to try to make every day great, because it's hard being a parent, right? So what I recognized is that instead it was about seizing every moment. And that the moments are the things that we remember most in our life. We don't remember days very much. Like, you don't remember your best day, you remember the very special moments. So since then, for the past couple months, I've been signing all my emails Carpe Momentum instead of Carpe Diem. So that is my new mantra, is Carpe Momentum, because I think that, I want to focus on having more great moments and not put the pressure on myself to have great days.